Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to follow me on my other channel, Money Rules. There's a link in the description below. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Yeah, once again, for those of you who missed it, it's September. I'm not sure how you missed the exact date, but yeah, for those of you who don't know, this is supposed to be the month that we've all been hearing about for the last couple of months as the beginning of the ultra super awesome Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptocurrency, bull market, altcoin season. It's supposed to be like this is the beginning of it. With the Fed supposedly, hopefully, gonna be lowering interest rates over the course of the next couple of like week or 2 weeks or somewhere around that number. As such, the news has not stopped. It has not slowed down. And it's kind of more or less what we've been hearing over the course of multiple different years at this point. Deep pocketed Bitcoin investors are snapping up billions with a B, billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, according to top analytics firm Sentiment. Yeah, every single day, people are buying large amounts of Bitcoin. That goes back to what I've been saying for a while now. I'm not sure how they're able to do it. Not about like the money that they have, but it's more of a how they've been able to accumulate a large amount of Bitcoin over the course of the last 2.5 years. I'll even give you just the summer and not have prices absolutely skyrocket. Sentiment said on social media that Bitcoin whales are showing continued accumulation after purchasing more than $5.76 billion worth of Bitcoin amid a market-wide correction. They said Bitcoin's whales, specifically wallets that hold between 100 and 1,000 Bitcoin, have accumulated 94,700 more coins in the last 6 weeks. As price uncertainty has shaken many traders out of crypto, key stakeholders are loading up, end quote. There was an article, I want to say about 5 or 6 days ago. I forgot what it was called, but it was something along the lines of retail investors are leaving crypto and why that's bullish, or something along those lines. I found multiple articles actually. They're seeing that even with price increases in the cryptocurrency market, for some reason, retail investors, everyday normal people who haven't been in the market for that long, what have you, are so impatient that they continue to sell off their coins even if prices go up. The idea being, if you got into the market, let's say the coin you got into the market was $100, it drops down to 47, and basically when the price goes up to 65 or 75, you've lost all hopes. You go, okay, cool, it was at 40 for a while. It's now at 60 or 70. I'm going to save. I lost some, but I didn't lose a lot. And those coins, once again, are being accumulated and purchased by the whales over and over. A lot of our metrics typically tend to be between the 100 to 1,000 Bitcoin range. I always need to make sure that I say, understand that these, these metrics that we keep getting never include addresses that have over 1,000 coins or less than 100 coins. That is to say, there are always new wallets popping up like every day that go from 0 to 25 Bitcoin. I mean, like they buy it in one fell swoop. And these are never mentioned in any of the metrics. There are already a lot of wallets that have 1,001 Bitcoin. And some days they'll buy 300 Bitcoin. They're also not included in these numbers as well. So 94,700 Bitcoin were just scooped up within that one range of whale wallets. It's absolutely remarkable. I assume there'll be a documentary or a movie or a Netflix TV show at some point explaining to us, maybe, question mark, how they're able to actually do all of this. Like, these are crazy levels of accumulation. We've never seen stuff like this before. I know you've heard me say that before, but you're not getting it. So many people, and I've once again reiterating, there's so much like discontent and anger and frustration at people like on Twitter and in the cryptocurrency space. It just ends up being like really weird and kind of like, I don't know, from time to time. And people, like, you can see them losing faith or that they've lost faith. But the moment prices like really start to go back up, like it's almost like this like light euphoria takes hold of everyone. And it's across, I guess, every single asset class. Like, it happens in stocks, it happens everywhere. But anyway, without having to segue too much, I was just long story short, I was just reading something about like asset accumulation and like why we see like hyper generational wealth only within like certain families. And they were discussing that a lot of people, the majority, if not like the 99% of people, don't understand that like wealth and money come from just literally buying and holding and then buying more. Your average person who doesn't, this isn't meant to be mean, who doesn't have any money, they'll hear that and they'll suck their teeth or they fold their arms, because they simply don't understand, because they've never been through that. They've never lived in a family where wealth accumulation was a constant thing. Nothing has been passed on to them, or they simply don't understand. And it's not even from the perspective of just buy crypto, you'll be fine. It's like it's any asset. Like, even, dare I say this, even gold since 2005 has performed okay. Not as well as Bitcoin has, but if you had just bought gold over the course of the last 20 years, your portfolio would have, I think, a 4 or 5x. You would have done a lot better than other people who hadn't. It's just about consistency and buying and holding. The problem is that the average person doesn't understand this. So they buy, they get into a market, they're looking for quick, fast money, and then they sell their position and then realize later on why they have nothing. It's the cycle that just won't end and is going to continue going on forever. I'm already terrified of when the market pumps, and there are going to be a lot of people out there who make a good 6 figures from the market, and they're going to spend that money on a car, on a vacation, and a whole bunch of other stuff, and then in 10 years they'll have nothing. I know it's going to happen. Like, it's the constant cycle. So anyway, yeah, Bitcoin whales, and also there's also always news of XRP and Ethereum whales as well. But Bitcoin always tends to take the spotlight and has more articles about it when it comes to deep-pocketed Bitcoin investors. That's the whales keep buying and probably will never stop. And eventually 97% of all Bitcoin will just be in the hands of I'm certain of it. Like, nothing in my mind tells me otherwise. 97% of all Bitcoin is probably going to be owned by the top 1% of this world, and everyone else will just have Satoshis. News. And yeah, let's move on. So I'm going to tell you this news and you can't get upset with me, okay? A lot of people are really doing their best to try and push Dogecoin once again. Dogecoin at a time was the most popular meme coin that we've had out there. It's still very well known by name, but the coin basically does nothing. It has no partnerships. It has no real usage other than sending payments. The hype around Elon Musk at some point announcing that Dogecoin is going to be a payment method on Twitter is probably like the last piece of floss that it's actually hanging from. I do think at some point in the future that Twitter is probably going to have multiple different payment methods, but it's probably going to take a very, 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 very long time as people keep thinking that the SEC, NCFTC, and money regulation and AML and KYC and money laundering aren't a thing to different governments, that at some point they're simply going to snap their fingers, crypto's going to be on Twitter, and you'll be able to live your best life sending money back and forth, forgetting that you already have blockchain, and you can already do that without Twitter having to be a mediator. There's been a lot of news. I thought it was a pass-by-night kind of thing. No. There's been an enormous amount of news recently about Dogecoin, how amazing it is, its supply, how fantastic. Dogecoin's going to come back. Dogecoin's the best thing ever. Why don't you own Dogecoin? A lot of articles. I don't know if they're paid articles. I don't know where they're coming from. I literally couldn't tell you if I tried. People are trying to make Dogecoin seem like an actual rare asset and that it's something to be accumulated. Part of the joke of Dogecoin, for those of you who don't know, was that it's meant to have an ever-increasing gigantic supply. That was literally the point of the joke. That's why the guy who made the coin around 2017, 2018 left the project, because he said he didn't understand and was angry that people were trying to take Dogecoin seriously because it's meant to be a joke, as is every other meme coin out there. The articles that are floating around, this one is from Santiment. It says, Santiment shows that Dogecoin is facing a supply squeeze. It's not. With the meme coin stock to flow ratio rising, I'm going to explain that. Between the 18th and 19th of August, this stock to flow ratio surged to an all-time high of 69.25. This metric measures a commodity scarcity and indicates a massive demand for Dogecoin. I'm going to explain that as well. It says this development could lead to a supply squeeze for Dogecoin. That's incorrect, as the demand for the meme coin continues to outpace its supply. Such a supply squeeze ultimately drives up prices, meaning that a significant price rally is currently in the cards for Dogecoin. People found information about Dogecoin from Santiment. They put that into a stock to flow ratio, the same exact thing that Plan B has, and came to the conclusion that the supply of Dogecoin is so low that people around the world are going to fall over themselves to buy it. And subsequently, Dogecoin's price would rise so dramatically that everyone would fall in love with it, and Dogecoin is going to 900 bajillion quintillion dollars. I'm going to give it to you this way, and then I'll show you the actual numbers, and this is why I said don't be mad at me. Because a lot of times I tell people things, and then they don't believe me, and then I show them a chart. This also holds true for real life. I show people the information that they don't want to hear, that they don't want to listen to, and then they get upset when you actually bring it to them. If you have one of something, and you create another one of that thing, you've essentially doubled the supply. It's still incredibly rare, but it's not as rare if there were only one. Still with me? I hope so. If you have 1,000,000 of something and you create one more of it, there's a huge amount of it already. There's over 1,000,000 of it, and therefore that one mathematically hasn't really done a lot to the already gigantically large supply. If that supply goes from 1,000,000 to 10 million, and one is created, mathematically, it's still inflationary, but not as inflationary because there's already 10 million of them. You see where I'm going with this? If you have 1,000,000,000 of something and one more gets created, well, then mathematically, the inflation rate is lower than it was before, but the problem is that the thing is already not scarce because there's 1,000,000,000 of them. You see where I'm going with this? People for years have been trying to make Dogecoin seem like an actual commodity, like an actual thing that you need to purchase, something that's going to change your life for the better, or that you're actually going to end up using at some point in the future. For those of you not looking at the screen, this is public information. You can find this everywhere. It says Dogecoin supply. With a permanent fixed 10,000 Doge per block, rewarded to people who are mining every minute. There are 10,000 Dogecoin created every single minute. The supply of Dogecoin grows by 14.4 million per day and 5.2 billion Doge per year on average. Without halvings, the ultimate supply of Dogecoin is infinite, although the annualized inflation rate reduces as the supply grows. If you have a million of something and one is created, you've created one more. If you have 100 million of something, it looks mathematically lower if there's 5.2 billion Doge created per year, but there's already 300 billion of something. The 5 billion mathematically, this is why the chart goes this way. It slows down the inflation rate, but the inflation rate is still absolutely ridiculously gigantic. I will never understand why people will fall over themselves in love with Dogecoin, but then never defend actual coins that have usage or that don't have an inflation rate or that have a burn rate. Can you imagine how many people would talk negatively about XRP if XRP had 14 million new coins per day? Anywho, yes, Dogecoin supply is infinite. If anyone tells you, no, it's totally fine because, as more coins get created, that the 5 billion's not a lot in 25 years, they're lying to you. There's for some reason something going on where people are trying to find any piece of data, any information to try and make it seem like Dogecoin is doing something amazing or going to do something amazing. But these are also the same other YouTubers who are also telling you to buy Solana and the meme coins and the other coins that keep crashing and taking other people's money. I guess it's just a loop because a lot of times, like I said, people for some reason don't want to hear the truth. I don't know why. I'm glad I'm not them because I like living in actual reality. It's helped me choose what I'm going to put my money into. And wouldn't you know it, it worked. So you can buy Dogecoin for fun, but this thing is not going to buy you a mansion. Anywho, that's the Dogecoin inflates forever news. And yeah, let's move on. Also in semi-popular news, once again, we've shuffled back over to the flipping. Yeah. In a recent CNBC interview, Vance Spencer, co-founder of the venture capital firm Framework Ventures, it sounds like a pair of glasses, Framework Ventures, shed light on the future of spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. According to Spencer, Ether funds are rapidly positioning itself to capture a substantial share of inflows currently dedicated or directed at Bitcoin ETFs. He's expecting a potential 50-50 allocation emerging as a standard for investors. A lot of articles are beginning to pop up once again, as I told you they would, around February and March, about Ethereum flipping and Ethereum doing this and doing that. For those of you who don't know what that is, the idea is that Ethereum will become so popular and so big and so large that investors can't ignore it anymore. They have to put money into it. And because Ethereum is the most used blockchain, this extra money would cause its price to pump really fast. Ethereum's price would get so close market cap wise to Bitcoin. There would be a gigantic money push and Ethereum will become the #1 coin. This has been a legend since 2016, 2017, where people think it's going to happen. And it's like, sure, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but everyone can dream, right? Ethereum ETFs are doing exceedingly well. For those of you who missed the numbers, because I'm sure a lot of people have, and I'm sure it never probably even made it onto your radar. Why? Because for some reason, a lot of people online don't like Ethereum, don't want to pay attention to it, or pretend that it's not the most used blockchain and the number 2 coin. So a lot of days we've had news that 200 million has flown into the Ethereum ETFs, and by the end of the day, around 20 million were outflows. Instead of, you can find it, instead of the news being that 180 plus million went in that day, the news constantly, as being popular news, is that $20 million left the ETFs, and therefore they must not be doing as well as people think. Remember how we had news before about, I mean, you know, and it's still happening, and it's a shame that people just don't pay attention anymore. Remember in the beginning how we had news that the ETFs were buying up 13 days worth of the supply of Bitcoin every day? That's what was going on. And many days now, that number ends up being 2 to 3 times the amount of Bitcoin created per day. People pretend like it's not something spectacular, but that's because people don't think for themselves. A lot of the Ethereum news, if you go over the numbers, and I think we've only had 2 articles about this, were that apparently the ETF issuers, I think, purchased, already 2 or 3 years worth of Ethereum being mined into the ETFs already, because Ethereum's inflation rate is very low. And I just heard someone suck their teeth. You must have missed that video where I showed you, like I said, on the screen. It was there on the screen. I showed you the 5-year inflation rate, the 3-year, and the 1 year, and then month and then day, and then we went back to exactly when the merge happened. A lot of people are creating articles talking about that irony, talking about that Ethereum's inflation rate is out of control and something's wrong with it and the price is going to go down. There's so much selling pressure because Ethereum's inflating like never before. These people are monsters, and they're trying to make you not understand or not pay attention to exactly what's happening with Ether. The burn supply outpaces, and Ethereum is deflationary. I believe there were 3 days over the course of this year where that wasn't so, and there weren't 800 million Ether being created, similar to Dogecoin. I think it was like 25 Ether or something like that, and then a day later they were burned. So the amount of Ether that does get created is only by people who are holding Ether. Everyone still with me? And then the problem is that there's not a lot of new Ether being created. The ETFs, I think their first week or 2 of having the Ethereum ETFs, bought an entire year's worth of Ethereum being mined in one fell swoop. And everyone continued to write very negative articles. Ethereum ETFs are gigantic. They're near monstrous in size at this point, and it's only going to get crazier. That's why the news that we had at the end of July about the amount of Ether on exchanges being less than 10% was huge. And us hearing that more than 1 out of every 3 Ether is currently being staked, probably by companies and institutions, as the only way to actually make new Ether. Retail continues to not pay attention. It is an actual problem that's going to cause a lot of people mental and economic anguish over the course of their future. For some reason, a lot of people in this market are not paying attention. And to the 3 of you who are paying attention, I give you a golf clap. To everyone else watching this right now, it's a literal shame how far that we've come in this space, and how many of you have been in this market for a while and you're just not paying attention, and haven't subsequently paid attention for a while, and how easy it is to throw something shiny onto the street and have people run to it. That Solana and the other meme coins. Anyway, yeah, Ethereum ETFs are doing just dandy, just fine. They're only going to do a lot better. This is part of the reason, first of all, if I can say this, it was abundantly clear without the ETFs that Ethereum was probably going to 3x from its previous all-time high. Everyone got that? The previous all-time high was 4,800. We were probably already, just mathematically, as the most used blockchain, already going to see a $12,000 Ether. Because of the amount of accumulation and no new Ether hitting the market, the only people who are selling their Ether and their Bitcoin are people who are frustrated or angry or just annoyed with the market. You are generationally wealthing rich people back again. You are giving them all of your assets at a lower price, and when they get too expensive for you to afford, you will no longer have them. So because of all the accumulation and all of the staking and the actual supply squeeze, it's as dramatic as Bitcoin, if not a little bit more, because you can't stake Bitcoin into the network yet. We probably should be seeing a $50,000 to $20,000 Ether, but you know, retail doesn't pay attention. You know how last point. It's going to sound cheesy. I'm very excited for a lot of you. When I look at the comment section, when I look at who's responding back on Twitter and who's talking and who, not even just nice messages, but just like the actual communication between people and the amount of people I've seen. I'm excited for a lot of you to become rich. And I mean like rich. I mean like you can literally one day, like sometime next year, just quit your job. You don't have to worry about money anymore. A lot of you actually deserve it. I won't talk about the other people who are incredibly negative and very mean-spirited online. But a lot of you have been in this market for a while. And I completely wish you only the best in the future and your future endeavors with the amount of money that you make. Be happy that you've held on for this long, because a lot of people, like 90-something% of people haven't. They leave the market and then they rush back in when prices go back up and they can't afford anything. So yeah, get ready. That's the Ethereum ETF news. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in news, I was going to put this in stupid news, but you know, it is what it is. Nigeria's back in the news, and the last couple of weeks, months with Nigeria have been really intense. Nigeria was touted as kind of the Brazil of crypto, Brazil being the US of crypto. Like there are like multiple places around the world that have kind of opened up to crypto. Nigeria, for some reason, doesn't seem to understand how money works. This isn't me making a joke. This is completely... If you've been paying attention to the Nigeria Binance news, it's like actually out of control. And this is all being done just because of greed. Over the course of history, I've read a lot. I like reading about history. I like documentaries. I like, seeing what's happened and where things have gone. There have been so many places around the world who just don't know how to run themselves. And a lot of that is also historical and also because of, right. But there have been so many places on the planet over the course of the last decade that could have positioned themselves as like a money-making magnet, basically becoming the Switzerland of their continent. And they've chosen not to do so. Nigeria, along with India, has kind of made sure to take their time when it comes to cryptocurrency regulation and taxation, and basically telling their country that it's okay to invest and to put your money into this. And instead of using actual like education, they've mainly only used force and miseducation to make sure that people in their community and their countries don't benefit from it. That's been one of the main issues. For those of you who didn't see it, last year, there was some Southeast Asian country who was like, listen, crypto's not banned here, but if you want to use it, go to the SEC's website. You know what they had? They had a full free course, free, on crypto, Bitcoin, and blockchain. So you could learn all about it. You could learn all the risks, how much money you could make, previous market cycles, what a security was, what a commodity was. And then at the end of it, they literally were like, okay, cool. Now you choose if you want to put your money into it. How different would your country be if your government was like, listen, we don't particularly care for this, but we are going to educate you and make sure that you know everything so that if you want to invest into it, you are well prepared. I know some of you are chuckling because that's not how the world works. Nigeria is getting ready to tax crypto starting next month. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, the FIRS, plans to start taxing crypto holdings. The executive chairman of the FIRS has announced that they're pushing for a law to regulate the crypto industry. This means that if you're holding Bitcoin, you might actually have to tax the actual crypto that you're holding. He dropped this during a stakeholder meeting with the Senate and House Committee on Finance. The event was hosted by the Intergovernmental Relations Department of the FIRS. The theme, repositioning the FIRS to achieve its mandate. They said the first plan is to have the law that regulates it. This is done in any place in the world when you have this innovation or system. When there was no internet connection, we needed to bring it up. We cannot run away from cryptocurrency. I'm glad that they've got that far. Very similar to India, as I said before. India, I think it was earlier this year or last year. I don't remember. Also announced that they would be taxing crypto, and people were like, cool. This legitimizes it. We can use it as an investment vehicle. And I think India announced that every crypto transaction has a tax on it. Basically, if you move it anywhere, not to a crypto exchange, if you are moving crypto or paying for something in crypto, not only are you spending your crypto, but there's also a tax on it. If you send it somewhere else, you have to pay taxes on it. That's what I meant when I said there are places in the world that could have completely been this could have been the hub in Africa for people to deal in crypto. They could have had tons of people moving there and putting money in there. But alas, nope, that's not how the world works. People are far too greedy and don't understand how to make money, how to hold money, how to maintain money, and how to have actual relations. If you get a chance, find the news about Nigeria and Binance. It's going to literally, you won't be able to believe it. Because if the country had actually done something right and actually worked with Binance and say, hey, we have a disagreement, let's work this together, go sit in an office, we can meet over the course of a week, we're going to work this out. You're making it so that no one will ever want to do business in your country again, not even just for crypto. Because if something happens like it did to that guy from Binance, why would I ever want to go to your country or do business there? It's unfriendly. Why would I want to be there? You know how many other countries I can go to do business that also, and even more so if we can be completely honest, for me, I don't need a 0% taxation rate. I know a lot of you will disagree. If I'm dealing in crypto and you tell me my taxation rate is 15%, a light shrug. If you tell me my holdings are taxed, every time I move my money, it's taxed, and I can't deal in crypto or use crypto, or if I have the proper paperwork, I still might get in trouble. What is this country going to do if Bitcoin goes to $1 million per coin? Does no one think of the future? Think of, once again, when you read the Binance news, think of the future. Imagine if you had made proper relations with this company and had Coinbase and Kraken and Gemini go to your country as well. You think these people ever want to work with you again? You think in 10 years people are going to forget? No, they're going to be working in Gibraltar and in Portugal and in Switzerland and in Brazil and in Southeast Asia, Hong Kong. Anywho, yeah, that's not everyone can make it to the finish line news because, I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.